Hello, chefs. This is Chef's PSA Podcast. I'm your host, André Natera. Today we have a very special episode. It's award season, and we're going to be talking with the James Beard Foundation. My two guests today are Dawn Padmore, who is the Vice President of Awards at the James Beard Foundation, and Chef Elizabeth Falkner, an award-winning chef, cookbook author. She's owned restaurants on both coasts, San Francisco and New York. You've seen her on Top Chef and Iron Chef. She's on the James Beard Foundation Board of Trustees and also the current James Beard Foundation Awards Committee Chair. We want to bring transparency on the process and talk about everything from nomination, selection, and receiving the award. I think this is a really important episode as there is a lot of people that are not clear how the process works. Full disclosure, I am also a member of the James Beard Awards Committee. So as I'm asking some of these questions, I already know the answers to, but I'm asking them from a perspective of the listener and the audience who may have questions. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. Well, Dawn, Elizabeth, good morning. It's great to see you all.
Great to see you too.
Great to see you.
All right. So this is a special episode. This is the first time I've done a Chef's PSA podcast on, virtually. But I think this is a really important one, as I talked about a little bit in the introduction. But I want to jump right into it. So it is award season. And I get a lot of questions. And so for the audience that's listening, most of my audience is really chefs and cooks. So I wanted to make it really transparent and give them an opportunity to understand what the process looks like. What is the James Beard Foundation? What are the James Beard Awards? And who's James Beard?
Sure, I'll answer that. So established in 1990, the James Beard Awards are among this nation's most prestigious honors, recognizing leaders in the culinary and food media industries, as well as those in the broader food system. We are celebrating the 35th anniversary of the founding of the James Beard Awards in 2025, which is very exciting. The awards consist of the following recognition programs: the Media Awards, which include book, broadcast media, journalism, restaurant and chef, achievement awards, including Lifetime Achievement, Humanitarian of the Year, and the newly launched Impact Awards. The awards are named after James Beard, one of the most celebrated culinary personalities of his era and now. He was a prolific cookbook author, a media personality, a culinary educator, and really a pioneer for the appreciation of American cuisine. The first awards were given in 1991. Receiving a James Beard Award is a hallmark of excellence. Known colloquially as the Oscars of the food world, it really is seen as a marker of distinction, and it is a career aspiration for a lot of industry folks. Many in the industry have won James Beard Awards early on in their careers and have gone on to become household names, culinary giants, pioneers, and some have gone on to mentor other chefs. I'll name a few, and there are so many. All of these folks won the Rising Star Chef of the Year, which is now known as Emerging Chef. Michael Mina, Marcus Samuelson, Christina Tosi, Kwame Onwachi, Grant Achatz, Tracy Desjardins, Andrew Carmelini, to name a few.
Can I just add too that I started cooking in 1990, so and I started working in fine dining in 1991. So it was already like something that everybody was talking about, and I thought that had been going on forever. I'm like the same age as the awards, actually. So I mean, same age. So I've been cooking. My cooking career is the same age.
I'm the same age.
And I also just want to add that when Tracy Desjardins won Rising Star, it was called Rising Star Chef, and which is now Emerging Chef. I was working for her at Rubicon, and we were 28 years old, so it was really a big deal. It was a huge deal.
Yeah, so much history with the award. It's really incredible.
So much.
Okay. How can someone be considered for a James Beard Award?
Okay. So the awards are actually open to all entrants who meet the qualifications of each program, and we welcome entries and entrants from culinary and food media in all categories for the independent restaurant community across the United States, from fine dining to more casual dining gyms, which is, I think, one of the best things about the James Beard Awards. for the Restaurant and Chef Awards specifically, anyone can submit a chef or restaurant for consideration to the Restaurant and Chef Awards, and there is no entry fee. And during the online open call for recommendations is from October 1st through November 29th. So coming up, send in some people.
You said something interesting. I just want to make sure that people hear it. Is that self-nominations are allowed?
Absolutely.
Okay, so they that doesn't have to come from some big PR firm or a local food writer. Someone could nominate their restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think anybody can nominate themselves, or you can, in your town or wherever you've been, you can nominate people for Restaurant and Chef and Media Awards. And yeah, but deadline's coming up.
What are the basic eligibility requirements for nominees?
The basic eligibility for restaurants is candidates for those awards must be dining establishments that serve food and are open to the public, and businesses must be reasonably accessible to the public and open for business for a minimum of twice a month. Which, so, you think about like pop-ups and all of the different kinds of way we do dining these days.
Mm-hmm.
For the basic eligibility for individuals is candidates must be actively making food or beverage that is available to the public. And all the details are at jamesbeard.org/awards.
Just one quick question on this, because I have been asked this before. So for someone that's a private caterer that cooks in people's homes, this is not something that they would be eligible for, correct?
Yeah, no, they wouldn't be.
Okay. And then what are the different awards categories that are available that people could be nominated for?
So first of all, the James Beard Awards consists of media awards, which includes book, broadcast media, and journalism, and then the Restaurant and Chef Awards. And then we have 3 achievement awards. They are Lifetime Achievement, Humanitarian of the Year, and the Impact Awards, which are newly launched this year, or this cycle. The Restaurant and Chef Awards includes 26 categories that recognize restaurateurs, restaurants, chefs, beverage professionals, and others on both a national and regional levels. So some examples include Outstanding Chef, Outstanding Restaurant, Outstanding Pastry Chef, Outstanding Bar, Best New Bar, and Regional Best Chefs. We also have a committee-chosen America's Classics Awards, of which there are 6 chosen per year. And these awards, the classics, honor locally owned restaurants that have timeless appeal. They're beloved regionally for quality of food that reflects the characteristics of their communities.
How do they vary, and what are the specific criteria for each award?
Well, they're each different, but overall, the voting body for the Restaurant and Chef Awards is looking for those who demonstrate excellence in culinary skills, hospitality, and leadership qualities. They vary by the criteria vary by category. So some examples: the length of time the business has been open, the years of experience that's required. For example, Outstanding Chef requires chefs to be working 5 or more years. Specific skills in distinct areas of expertise. So pastry for Outstanding Pastry Chef, cocktail preparation for one of our new beverage categories. And then for the Best New Restaurant, Best New Bar, they have recently opened over the last year, and they have already and have the potential to have significant impact in the future. So each of our criteria for the categories can be found on the website. So I would recommend people look there, jamesbeard.org/awards.
And I know you touched on this a little bit, but are there any recent changes or additions to any of the categories?
Yeah, actually, it's very exciting. We have the brand new Impact Awards program and 3 new beverage-focused categories. So the Impact Awards is born out of the foundation's impact and advocacy work, and that's building on the prior leadership awards. And it's really about our commitment to catalyzing meaningful change in the food industry. And this program is part of the Foundation's Achievement Awards, which honor change makers in climate change, sustainability, equity, advocacy, and industry culture and practices. So the honorees will be chosen by the Impact Committee of the James Beard Board of Trustees. And then in beverage, which I'm very excited about, having just launched a new spirit business.
Well, hold on.
There's
What's the spirit business? Just out of curiosity.
Well, separately, I just launched a new brand with my partner called Tomorrow. Excuse me, TMARO. And it means like made today for tomorrow's world. Out of we make spirit and amaro out of dates. And anyway, that's like a side little advertisement there.
I said I wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to digress. Back to you. Sorry.
But I'm actually very excited about this new category because as somebody who's in 2005 I was nominated for James Beard pastry chef, outstanding pastry chef. And so having new category, in the big culinary scene is a big deal. And it's just 3 great new awards. There's Best New Bar. I'm a big fan of all the cocktail culture across America. Outstanding beverage professional in beverage service, and outstanding professional in cocktail service.
Yeah.
And the foundation's going to continue to build this program over the next 3 years and recognize excellence in this space. And then there's some major changes to the media awards, which include new categories under Broadcast Media Award. So Broadcast Media Hall of Fame Award, Travel Visual Media, Competition Visual Media, I've done a lot of those, Lifestyle Visual Media, and a new category under Journalism Awards, which is Narrative Photography.
Podcasters?
Right.
So how often does the foundation look at the selection criteria and review it and update it?
So the awards committees, subcommittees, and members of the foundation review the process annually after each cycle completes. We want to ensure that the programs continue to align with our mission and values, of course, and we want to reflect the needs and the landscape of the ever-changing independent restaurant industry and also food media. So it's an annual exercise.
Have there been any recent changes in the criteria, such as required tenure or emphasis on community impact?
So as of 2025, there are changes to time eligibility for some of our restaurant and chef awards categories. Certain timeframes have been increased. So these were previously reduced as of the 2022 cycle to help address the impact of COVID-19 on the industry. So I'll give you some examples. Outstanding chef, eligible candidates have been working as a chef for 5 or more consecutive years. Outstanding hospitality, in operation for 5 or more years. Outstanding pastry chef or baker, been working for 5 or more years. And restaurateur, eligible candidates must have been in the business for at least 7 years. So I'll talk a little bit about community, which really is impact. The foundation, remains dedicated to leading chefs and the broader culinary industry towards a new standard of excellence. So our guiding principle, which some of your audience have heard, is good food for good. It informs our vision of a vibrant, equitable, and sustainable independent restaurant industry. That stands as our cornerstone of American food culture. It drives towards a better food system. So our mission ladders up to our foundation mission, guiding principles. For the Restaurant and Chef Awards, excellence in food, beverage, and hospitality is at the core, and it's really the most important for our awards. We require for this program and all others an impact statement, and this offers entrants and those who are entering recommendations to give the voting body a more holistic look at the candidates, their work, what they're doing that aligns with the values and mission of the awards and the foundation. So for restaurant and chef in general, candidates are doing something that contributes positively to their industry, their community. It's another really, as I said earlier, another way of talking about leading or leadership. So I'll give you some examples. Leading by example, no pun intended. Consistent and high culinary and hospitality standards, setting a positive example for other professionals through your work, keeping your business open, especially during trying times, taking care of your employees, introducing practices that nurture your teams, caring for your communities, respecting your communities, making efforts as you can toward equitable and sustainable industry practices, climate mitigation practices, and other practices that really lead us toward a culture really where all can thrive. We really do believe it's important to celebrate all the people, including your audience, who are leading American food culture forward. It's a major part of recognizing and demonstrating excellence.
So what does the journey look like when you receive nomination to winning? And then can you outline what are the key steps involved when that happens?
Sure. So, of course, I'll focus on restaurant and chef specifically. So beginning in October, as we talked about earlier, we have an open call for recommendations. It's put out. So members of the public, industry, subcommittee members, our judges all contribute to those recommendations. The subcommittee reviews and then culls the list down and produces a list of approximately 20 semifinalists in each category. The exception is Best New Restaurant, it's 30. Once those semifinalists are announced, the judges and the subcommittee members are then assigned to each semifinalist in their respective region for tasting. After they taste, they vote and they score on various criteria, which is determined by the subcommittee and the foundation. And the 5 semifinalists, or 10 for Best New, with the highest average score are announced in the spring as the nominees for each of their categories. Once these nominees are announced, the voting body conducts additional tasting, they have discussions, and then they vote again. And after that, the top scoring nominee per category is announced as the winner. Everybody goes to Chicago, and we announce those winners on this year, June 16th, which is a Monday, at the beautiful Lyric Opera House in Chicago. And that's followed by a walkabout tasting celebration at Union Station. So it's a wonderful opportunity to come and be in community with your industry peers and your friends. It's really very special weekend.
So how does the foundation ensure that there's diverse representation among the nominees each year?
Sure. So our mission has long been to celebrate the array of people behind American food culture who are examples of excellence and leadership. The James Beard Awards are unique. We are the OG in this space. We are singularly American, and the American culinary world is singularly diverse, and our aim is to reflect that. Before 2020, when we launched our very deep audit of our policies and procedures, the foundation, in tandem with volunteer subcommittee members, had already begun to make changes in process, trying to implement more representation, more equity in the awards. And the pandemic sped that process up. So we took a comprehensive look over 2020 and 21, when didn't have any award ceremonies, didn't give awards. We had a comprehensive look at our policies and procedures, what we call the bones of the awards. The objectives were working towards removing systemic bias, increasing the diversity of the voting body, ensuring a broader reach to communities far and wide, increasing transparency in regards to how the awards function. So you can find all the stuff on our website now, more details. And again, aligning our awards with our mission and values very specifically. You know, these awards are, as I said, we're the OGs. We're like almost 35 years old now. And we've undergone continuous process of evolving and learning. We continue to do so. Our awards really represent excellence, and that's diversity in many ways. A really interesting little side thing I'll say here is Ruth Reichel covered the first 1991 James Beard Awards, which were held here in New York. She wrote that the Beard Awards center around the food revolution that is sweeping America. That revolution continues. And the restaurant scene, American cuisine, and how diners dine also continue to evolve. And we're leading in that way by keeping up and, showcasing excellence in so many ways.
So what actions or circumstances would lead to disqualification from being nominated for award And then how do you manage that situation internally to uphold the foundation standards?
Sure. I know that this is a hot topic, so we'll talk about this in a little bit of details. First, the most important thing that is, it's really important to emphasize here is that the awards are here to celebrate the industry. First, foremost, first and last, not to bring people down. Disqualification is a rare exception. The foundation and its awards programs has a code of ethics. It applies to all entrants, semifinalists, nominees, and winners, and the voting body. So as part of the open call, the code of ethics is published within our online application on AwardForce so that applicants and those making recommendations see it and can read through it. Say after a thorough review, after maybe lists have been published, somebody is found to have breached the code of ethics, they may be disqualified. So some examples from the code of ethics include inhumane, exploitative, or unlawful workplace practices, discriminatory behavior like harassment, violent or abusive behavior, egregious behavior, truly. The ethics committee only comes into play if an allegation is made about somebody in the course of the awards process. We do not independently seek out problems or investigations. So allegations are reviewed by the ethics committee. They are independent. They run independently. They're independent of staff. They're independent of the awards voting body, and they report directly to the Board of Trustees Governance Committee. They don't make any decisions only based on reports. So that's something I really want to emphasize. The review includes gathering information by our outside counsel, corroboration of information, which includes interviews, public records, documents, and the review is thorough. It's centered around prioritizing fairness, thoroughness, and most importantly, empathy in the process. There's an understanding that everybody deserves a chance to be heard. In cases where there is not enough to go on or reports are unsubstantiated following the review, the allegation is closed. Again, disqualifications are rare. If they do occur, we don't publicly comment on it, and we certainly don't announce it. We really want to strike a balance. I just want to say that before I close this out. We want to strike a balance to ensure those we are awarding embody our values and not publicly shaming anybody who's potentially taken out for consideration.
So how do you ensure transparency and fairness in the judging process?
Well, we really aim to be as transparent as possible. And so as I mentioned in a different context in one of your earlier questions, André, we have a lot of our information now about the awards process all online on our website. Again, jamesbeard.org/awards. So this includes everything related to the policies and procedures, information that helps walk through potential applicants through the submission process, eligibility documents with criteria for each and every category, voting graphics, which is easier to absorb for some people. We even have videos that kind of walk people through the process, all on this page or linked to that the landing page I just mentioned. And the judges across all programs are posted on our website after the winners are announced in June. We don't, though, it's part of our policy to not share the specific programs or categories that judges were assigned to. So in terms of fairness, we have clear rubrics for each of our programs. These are standardized processes that we put into action each year to ensure they're fair and they don't veer away from what has already been set up.
So what measures are put in place to prevent conflicts of interest among judges?
So for the James Beard Awards, all members of the voting body, that includes committee members and judges, have to agree to our code of conduct, required to sign and disclose any potential conflicts of interest, as well as a non-disclosure form. Members receive detailed guidelines about judging. As I just mentioned, it's standardized, it's very specific to each program. We also provide an annual training on diversity, equity, and inclusion which has been designed specifically for the James Beard Awards.
So this is this next question I think is fun, but it's also important, especially for my audience, is what impact do the James Beard Awards typically have on a chef or a restaurateur's career?
I'd like to answer that because it's true. The James Beard Awards actually changes lives. I mean, recognition at any stage of the awards process leads to significant economic impact and visibility for nominees. And this is very important for an industry with such extreme tight margins. I have a stat here that 59% of the 2024 semifinalists had an increase in covers following the announcement of this year, up from 47% in 2023.
Wow.
And almost all respondents noted that they received press coverage from being just on the semifinalist list. So some examples are in 2024, America's Classic winner, Benny Lay, stated that it increased his business by like 50%, and a lot of those people have never had Vietnamese food. In the 2023 winner, Yoli Tortilleria in Kansas City had a 700% increase in business for a couple of days following the win for Outstanding Bakery. You'll like this, 2023 Best Chef Texas, Benchawan Painter of Street to Kitchen had to expand to a bigger location with triple the capacity because of increased demand. And Rob Ruba, Outstanding Chef from 2023, noted that the awards led to doors opening and new relationships. And that's true. I met Rob in D.C. when we were talking to a lot of legislators earlier this summer. And every single politician that we talked to was like, as soon as they met Rob, they were like, how do I get a reservation at Oyster?
I mean, it's literally changing people's lives.
100%. Yeah.
So how's the foundation view its role in shaping culinary trends and elevating industry standards?
You know, as some of the nation's most prestigious honors in the culinary and food media industries, the awards are a powerful bellwether of what's going on in the United States dining scene more broadly. And I talk about this a lot with my, chefs of my generation, but the shift in recent years to spotlight some of the smaller cities reflects the growth of the culinary centers outside of the main, metropolises. A James Beard Award can help put a city on the map as a food destination. And I know that I've traveled around this country and I just I'll be in some tiny little town and I can't believe how much talent is all over this amazing country. But not only this, we're continually evolving the awards to push for a better standard, and the awards center everything in excellence and talent first, but we are redefining what excellence means. And excellence means both on and off the plate. An outstanding restaurant should make exceptional food, first and foremost, and show distinction in skill and craft, consistently deliver high quality food no matter what the setting is. So if it's fine dining or a more casual establishment, so much more of what you see on the plate goes into that plate of food, from the farms to the ingredients you choose, the way you support your staff, and all of those things. So excellence can also mean demonstrating leadership and contribution to the wider community. Ultimately, we're harnessing the power of the awards to drive positive change by celebrating those who embody these values in a standard of excellence.
What future changes or initiatives is the foundation considering as things evolve, the culinary landscapes evolved, to remain relevant?
I'll take this one. Our goal remains to keep supporting the independent restaurant industry as a whole while celebrating its outstanding talents. In terms of the awards, we stay relevant. We want to remain relevant. We are relevant. We want to keep having a positive impact on people's businesses, on their lives. We're dedicated to ensuring that we evolve with the industry changes in the landscape, as we've been talking about, and of course, taking into consideration the ongoing challenges and opportunities to address those within the independent restaurant industry. We will continue. It's an awards program, right? It's a process. We continue to iterate on the process, continue to try to make improvements, and to capture what's coming. And I think that that's key. Beyond the awards, we want to make sure that we are continuing to be behind change makers, to be behind the industry, innovative people, creative people, resilience without a doubt, and also always facing an economic model that's really, really tough. And our food systems, as we know, is facing huge challenges: climate change, rising costs, labor issues, so much more. We're leading on these emerging issues. Our impact programs reflect our commitment to support and champion a more equitable and sustainable industry. So I'll just name a couple of programs that are important: Chef's Boot Camp for Policy and Change, our Legacy Network, which is a mentoring program, women's leadership programs. We have a new initiative, our Climate Solutions for Restaurant Survival campaign, which we launched this year. We had over 800 chefs lending their voice to call for federal action to combat the impact of climate change. These are all of the things that we are doing and will continue to do to stay side by side and in partnership with the independent restaurant industry.
So why are the James Beard Awards important? What makes them so important right now for our culinary industry?
I mean, I think the awards really matter because they really, it's a very positive way to just, set up a standard of excellence and show the talent that's just really all over the country.
And because timing is important, when does the open call period close for the 2025 James Beard Awards?
November 29th, in a couple of
right
weeks. In a couple of weeks. Oh,
So
I wanted to make a couple of more comments, if that's okay with you guys, on the impact of the awards. I did want to add to what Elizabeth was saying. Those who are honored become industry role models. There are named chefs who continue to be role models, name meaning like they've been in the industry for a really, really long time. We have also those who are newer, like Paul Smith, who won in West Virginia. I think it was the first time somebody from West Virginia won. And I'm just going to give that just one example, as folks who can be seen as potential role models too in the future. We know that these awards change lives. Any recognition at any stage of somebody's career is important. It helps to lead to increase visibility, and as we already mentioned, impact on their business. Elizabeth already mentioned having impacts on cities and towns. That's a big thing, and it really shapes how diners eat. Our lists are used as a trusted guide for those looking for exceptional and meaningful culinary experiences. And as consumers increasingly value dining experiences that reflect the fullness of American culinary landscape, sustainability, purpose-driven dining, our lists really stand as the list to follow.
Yeah, I can't agree with that more. I think you hit the nail on the head. But as we wrap up, what are the key dates that chefs need to know for the 2025 James Beard Awards?
Sure. So I'll run through those. So semifinalist announcement will occur in January. The nominees announcement will occur in April. And as I mentioned earlier today, our award ceremonies will take place in June. Restaurant and Chef specifically will take place on Monday, June 16th in Chicago. All of our ceremonies are held in Chicago.
Dawn, Elizabeth, thank you so much. I think this was a really important conversation, and I'm glad we were able to do it just in time to get people nominated and make sure that they're paying attention to the upcoming dates. So thank you so much, and we'll have to do this again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us, André. This is fun.
You're welcome.
So great. And everybody get your nominations in by November 29th.
Yes.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope that brought a lot of clarity and transparency to the process surrounding the James Beard Foundation. Time's running out, so act quickly. If you want to support the show, go to chefspsa.com, get yourself some chef brains. If you want early access and exclusive access to episodes, you could become a premium member on Spotify and Substack. Go get Chef Brains. We'll see you next week. Hit the porno music.
No Andre in the kitchen, mixing, dropping chef knowledge, no fiction, stirring up the beats, heating up the session. Listen close, classes in session.